One problem that owners of any automobile will face over time is the yellowing of headlights. UV light and just time and road grime and everything forms a crust on your headlight that is bad because your headlights work less and it just doesn't look good on your car. But you can take them from this to this in only a few minutes of your time, and we're going to show you how to do it because it's really easy.
It depends on the make and model. They're all yellow. It's just some are a little more resilient to UV. That's the main culprit, and some are very poor. So you'll see anywhere from a range on a new car. You might see something start yellowing like this in 3 years. Typical scenario there would probably be Miami. Huge high UV index. Their lenses yellow much faster than they do up here in the north. So up here, I'll see a car that might go 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Miami, 3 to 5 years, I've seen it yellow. So it's just kind of a matter of time, and there's a big variability from one make and even one model to the next. You know, you go within Ford, and they might have someone making one headlight for them on a Taurus, and making someone else making one for the F-150, you know, and so it's really hard to gauge and say, you know, a blanket statement across the board. The nice thing with this is I can tell you I've done, I don't even know, probably thousands of headlights, and I have not had a light that I haven't been able to restore. It's just a matter of how long it takes. On average, you're at 15-20 minutes a light. With a drill by hand, you're probably going to be in 45 minutes to an hour and 15 a light, depending on what it is. Things we don't want to use it on, we don't want to use it on glass headlights. You shouldn't need to, but you don't want to put scratches in glass because you'll never get them out. And then the other thing that we ran into, and I do have it, it's a light that's sitting on that table, and I didn't mention it in the last class, but if you have moisture or dirt or something on the inside of that headlight, we're not going to be able to fix that. You can definitely improve that appearance significantly and your light output significantly, but if you've got, you've seen the headlights where you get condensation in there, when that condensation forms and then dries, over time that just leaves a film on the back, so it'll be just a little bit foggy on the back side. It'll still look a lot better, but that's something that we're not going to 100% be able to fix. So, and that's a good point. You have the appearance factor, which I think makes this a great demo. I demo this fairly frequently, but more importantly, you have that safety factor is even bigger. I mean, the amount of light output from here to here, if I measure this and then measure it after I clear it, with this particular light, you probably would increase your light output by somewhere between 150 to 250%. Is what that increase is. I've seen it as high as like 450% increase, and I've seen it about the lowest I've seen is about 50% increase, and that, again, that's very significant, but I think that's probably the more important feature, even though the appearance part is a cool part to see. So what I'm going to do, in order to go from something like this to this, you've got to get this layer off. This is polycarbonate. All this is the thin layer of degraded polycarbonate. We're going to start with a gold 500 grit disc, and all I'm going to do is just sand until I get that layer off. So once I do that, once I get this entire layer off, and you can hear I'm not running this thing wide open like that, because if I do that I'm going to generate way too much heat. I want to see powder like that. That tells me I'm not going too fast. If I'm going too fast, I'm probably going to start smearing, and you'll see kind of a black or a brown smear. If that happens, just slow down your speed. If it's really hot, you can quench it with water, just let it air cool, and then start sanding again. You can fix it if you do that, but as a general rule, you're going to make more work out of it than you need to. So I'm just using kind of moderate pressure. If I push too hard, I'm going to kind of lose control of the drill, and it's going to want to jump around on me.
So you don't need to use water then?
So not on this step, I'm not. I'm just, the first couple, these are kind of traditional sandpapers. We're going to do that dry on the first two steps. When we get to the Trivax abrasive, which I don't know if you've been introduced to that yet or not, but once we get to that, then we are going to use water with that particular product, and then we're going to compound. So Again, we're sanding with 500 grit here. And basically, I just want to get through and show you guys the process so you know what to do when you get out here. But okay, so if you look at that, that's pretty white and frosty. It's scratchy, but it's white and frosty. I tell people to look for an even frosted appearance. If you see where I can't get next to that tape, see how it's glossy? If I saw some glossy patches there, you want to keep sanding. You're not done yet. It shouldn't look blotchy. It should look kind of an even frosty white. Once I get to that point, I'm done with the 500 grit. Now all I'm going to do from here on out is refine the scratch to the point that I can polish it out. So I'm going to go to this white disc, which is an 800 grit. And there really isn't there's no trick there's no sleight of hand, and nothing like that. The real key to this whole process is just do a thorough job on every step. If you do that, you're going to have a good result. If you miss something, not a big deal. You don't have to start all the way over. If you miss a few scratches and you get done, you polish it, and it looks pretty clear, but you've got a few scratches you missed, you can just go back to the very last sanding step, sand it a little more, and that usually will take care of that for you. Okay, so I'm probably close here. So now, so you can see I'm getting dust, so I'm obviously sanding dry with this particular product. Over the whole headlight, I'll keep this in my hand and just wipe as I go to keep it from loading up and give it a little more life. So now I'm left with an 800 grit scratch. Now with the drill kit that I'm showing you, we're going to go from 800 to this is 3000 grit. I've used that a few times. I'll pass it around. I mean, it doesn't even feel like it's sandpaper. This is that micro replication technology that I'm talking about upstairs. So this is 3000 grit. I'm going to use that with water. And this is our last sanding step. Now in the hand kit, we can't make that jump from 800 to 3000. It's too big. You could do it, but it'll take you a long time to sand by hand. So on the hand kit, we've got a 1000 grit, equivalent to this, but 1000. So we do 500, 800, 1000, 3000. So if you use a hand kit that's out there, you'll have one more sanding step.
Why would someone use the hand kit instead of the drill kit?
You know, it's interesting. When we launched this thing, this is a really good performing kit. I believe, honestly, that this is the best kit on the market for headlight restoration. And what was interesting was, there's been kits that don't require tools out there, and we knew they were getting sales, basically, and there's got to be something more to it. And what we found is there's a segment of our consumer base that they're intimidated by tools, or, I even know guys that are used to using tools that are a little intimidated that, hey man, you're telling me to stick a drill on my headlight with sandpaper, are you serious? And I think that's the beauty of having YouTube videos and training videos online. Guys can see what you're going to really do. Okay, now I get it, but there is a customer segment out there that just for whatever reason isn't comfortable or doesn't want to use a tool or doesn't have a tool. I know we're going to get a lot more play since we launched a kit that doesn't require tools in our OUS countries. A lot of people, the household doesn't have a drill. So we expect that to actually, and that was something we launched within the last year, but in other countries where a drill isn't as common, we expect to see that really get adopted, where the drill, or we have a commercial kit for guys that are doing it as a service with pneumatic tools. We expect to get sales that we weren't able to get by not having no tools required to it. Okay, so take a look at this. Now you just basically are left with a 3000 grit scratch, which is, I would call that a haze. We're going to take rubbing compound. In the kit, it comes in a packet. The kits are designed to do 2 headlights. That'll do about 95 or more % of the headlights, 2 of them that are out there. If you get a really big one or one that might be hard to sand, you possibly could need to get a second kit. But again, that's probably less than 5% of the time. So take that rubbing compound. I don't put a lot on at a time just because I don't want to make a mess. Even if I'm really doing a car, I don't put a lot on because I just don't want to clean it up. Not a big deal if you use too much. It's just going to take you a little longer to clean up is all.
Does compound have a grit equivalent?
It really doesn't. Not equivalent to, no. So you almost got to take your, once you go to liquid form, the mineral shape and size and everything is different.
But it's higher than 3,000.
So yeah, oh yeah. So, you know, if you had to throw something out, you'd say it's probably 5,000 or 6,000 if you're trying to equate it to paper. But shape and formulation come into play quite a bit with that. So you can see it's getting clear very quickly. I haven't really even compounded it very much. But that's what, that Trizac abrasive is really an important part of it because it really allows you to refine quickly, easily, and to get that scratch so fine that way, just pull it right out. If you're familiar with body shop practices, you look up behind me on that poster, you'll see Trizac is in that, the 3000. That's really, you know, that 3000 that's what we're using, and that's what body shops are using. For them, what Trizac does for them is on clear coat paint, that thing takes what normally would be a 1200 or 1500 grit scratch, cuts it, if it's that deep, cuts it in half. Then you don't have to buff with a big buffer. You cut that time at almost exactly in half. The numbers will show that. But so basically, here's what you end up with. Very easy to do, not real complicated. Like I said, the biggest thing is just follow each step and do it methodically. Almost like any other kind of process you do. If I skimp on, you know, if I do a really good job with the first step and then kind of skim over it with this, I'm probably going to have some residual scratches in there now that I might have to go back. But if I had a scratch here I missed, I wouldn't go all the way back. I'd just go back to this last step with water, sand a little more thoroughly, and then it'll probably just compound out nice. And again, if you do the hand version when you're out there, you basically are using this in your arm as your drill now. This is hook and loop, so all the abrasives and everything go on there. And then when you get to the compounding step, you just flip it over, put your compound here, and rub out by hand with that pad. And again, you've got that 1000 grit, because we can't make that jump by hand.